So, we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
corruption of the Calixian Conclave.
Oh, good. We're gonna start it with that name.
Alliteration.
Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Hint, fucking hint. Anyways, I would have hoped that it stood to reason that he was getting outside help, and this wasn't an isolated incident. Otherwise, the second campaign would have just been like, okay, well, what do you guys want to do?
Space pirates! Pirates,
you could
hookers,
you can do that in this
blow.
campaign. You can just fuck the plot. I don't really mind. This campaign's very open-ended,
Alright, that's fine.
which I think will be fun. So, this campaign starts a year after the fall and subsequent exterminatus of the planet Reth. Your first station, for everyone except for Nihilus and Tybalt, under Inquisitor Antonius Carrizo, who became a heretic, or was discovered to be a heretic. So, let's start with Nihilus. Nihilus, what's happened in the year past?
Oh. Well then. After the fight, under St. Vero, we carted Frall and Mercutio outside, and we were transported up to the Mechanicus fleet. We were transferred to Cretus flagship, and Frall, Stubber, Leith, Garble, and I were dropped off at Scintilla and made our way to the Calixian Conclave. Once we were dropped off, we were interrogated by Lord Inquisitor Anton Zerbe, and I was at first reluctant to give up vital information, as I did not know how deep the heresy went in the Inquisition, or if it even went past Antonius. Nevertheless, I told him everything I could about Reth and the Psyker infestation that was caused by the heretics occupying Vero. Once the interrogation was over, I was given a promotion to the rank of arbitrator for my actions taken on Reth.
Inquisitor. Not
Oh,
arbitrator.
Inquisitor. My bad. Wow. Let's just change that real quick.
Let's just retype that.
Alright. I was feeling very empowered being promoted by the Lord Inquisitor and was eager to get back out and search for more heretics, which meant one thing: discovering my Inquisitor, Antonius, would betray me, the Inquisition, and the God Emperor. However, before I was able to get off planet to start my search, I learned of Reth's fate and did everything I could to keep it from extermination. Using my promotion to my full advantage, I gained audience with the Conclave and tried to defend Reth and its inhabitants, but the Conclave and the Lord Inquisitor saw the world as completely corrupted, and I had no chance of changing their views. Reth was no more. The destruction of Reth opened up some anger inside me, and I set off to find answers on Antonius. I went to the Lord Inquisitor and the Conclave to figure out who Antonius had been in command of during my time on Reth. I learned that Antonius was in command of 3 separate acolyte groups, but I was unable to find any specifics on the groups other than the positions. 2 groups were in the Hazaroth sector, and another in Periphery. Periphery, sorry. I was only able to find more information on the Tomanote group on the frontier planet of St. Astrid's Fall. I discovered after some digging that they were conducting a search for cultists that were, unfortunately, not related to the Tyrant Star. I soon made plans to get off planet and search for other groups. As I was about to leave to start my search, I was again interrupted before my departure as I was summoned by the Lord Inquisitor. Slightly irritated, I made my way to the Lord Inquisitor's chambers.
Very good. So, you, oops, wrong button. You said that you were promoted to the Inquisition.
Yep.
What Ordo did you end up joining?
I joined the Ordo Malus.
And the Malus is?
We hunt and kill demons, am I correct?
This is a demon hunting
Yes.
section associated very closely with the Grey Knights and other such very fun people.
Yeah!
Alright, Stubbsy, I say it's your turn now. What happened in your year since the fall of Reth?
Okay. Let me bring that up.
I will
Okay.
also be posting my backstory in Roll20.
Yeah, do that after this too. Shortly after exiting Reth's atmosphere, we began our journey to Lichess to explain our actions to the Tarantine Cabal.
Tarantine, yeah.
Yeah. On the way, I was receiving subpar medical attention and was in critical condition the entire way. Before we got in the orbit, I was transported to a ship that I had assumed to be equipped with medical facilities. Instead, to my surprise, I was greeted by a few members of the Ordo Hereticus. Given the nature of the heresy that had taken place on Reth and the involvement of heretical clergymen, these members of the Ordo Hereticus were wary of my presence. I was led to a room and was told to sit in front of a hooded member of the Ordo. His head was lowered as to hide his face. Before he spoke, 2 servo skulls began scanning my body. One notified my host that I was wounded and human. The other servo skull saw the taint of the warp, but knew I wasn't the origin of it. My host raised his head and began the session of questioning. My mind is blurry of the details of our conversation as I kept losing consciousness due to my wounds. I was forcefully being kept awake with adrenaline shots. I briefly recall he demanded answers that questioned my devotion to the God Emperor, why I was present on Reth, why I allowed Thrall to walk freely, and of the heretic. Once my host was satisfied, he lowered his hood and noted that given the intel that was supplied to the fleet and the whispers from the Sororitas about my visit to the Astropathica, I had become a person of interest for the Ordo Hereticus. As repentance for working with the heretic, despite my proven innocence, I was made a crew member of this shadow of the God Emperor for the next year. We worked in secrecy, going by code names, never knowing each other's true name. The cell was tasked with monitoring high-ranking ecclesiarchy members. I was often made to infiltrate my way into a local ecclesiarchy palace with nothing but a microbead. Though this was an easy task that usually meant I pretended to be a traveling priest, and that I traded room and board for menial labor. We zealously hunted day after day what felt like nothing but ghosts and whispers in order to uncover heresy in the name of the God Emperor. After a brief excursion on Maccabeus Quintus, where we suspected heresy amongst the chief practitioners of the DeusENomine cult, I was handed a summons by the Tarantine Cabal in relation to Reth, and was to make my way to Lichess.
Very good. So, you are now both on Lichess. Nihilus. You've been here before. Or you've been here the entire time, trying to convince Anton Zerbay and the many other Inquisitors of the Tarantine Cabal of Reth's innocence, and subsequently find out more on your heretical former boss.
And where is this planet located?
Scintilla
Yes.
is located in the
Golgena Reach.
Reach.
It's pretty much like this.
It's in the middle, on the bottom of the Golgena Reach.
Yeah.
Scintilla. And Lichess is the moon of Scintilla.
Which isn't displayed, but
No.
we know it's there.
Yeah.
So, Scintilla is the giant ass thing right there.
Yeah.
Scintilla is the capital of the entire sector.
Okay.
Not the subsectors. Everything you see on the map in Roll20 is Scintilla controlled. I was hoping to be able to get Tybalt's backstory before we proceeded any further. But I suppose that will have to wait. He will make his grand entrance later. So yes. Stubber, you disembark onto the docks of the great fortress of the Tarantine Cabal. This giant monolithic plascrete structure dwarfs all other buildings on Lichess. It is very obviously a seat of massive power and inquisitorial might within the sector. Its mere presence is imposing and a bit unnerving. As the last time you were here, you were quite improperly questioned, or quite roughly questioned, I should say. You make your way off of the small shuttle into the fortress, and Neelis is there at the docks waiting for you, as well as all the other crew who were sent for to reconvene. You see each other and approach each other, I suppose. It's old friends.
Yay.
Good. Grim darkness.
Of the handshake.
Neelis, friend, it is great to see you.
Stubber, yes. It is good to see you too, old friend.
I take it you were summoned as well by the Cabal?
Yes, it appears that we may be needed again.
Excellent. I actually haven't landed on this world before. Where do we go?
Richard.
Do you guys want to, or do you just want to point it out, or do you want to wait for everyone else? Like, because there are other people that will be landing. Do you guys want to make your way to the chambers right now, or wait for them, or?
Well, we're really only waiting for Tybalt, right?
Well, no, I'm going to be role-playing some of the other characters who are not
okay.
here, but will be here.
Ah,
Okay. Yes, once the rest of the team shows up, I will show you all where we are to go.
ah. Okay.
We're going to be getting the old crew back together.
Excellent. That is good to hear. I look forward to it.
You guys make a small talk for a while. Neil is telling Stubber of your recent advancement into the Inquisition, among other little things. Briefly discussing looking into the past of Inquisitor Antonius Carrizo. Before long, another shuttle approaches, and as it docks, a few slips down the docking line, you notice with a very small contingent of tough-looking soldiers, more than likely Imperial Guardsmen, Fralzek depart the shuttle. He walks off looking a bit colder and sterner than he used to be, no longer the plucky young psyker you used to know. His demeanor is more dark and jaded, as he has seen the horrors.
Yep. Yep.
So, what do you guys do?
Frawl, old friend, how are you? It is good to see you.
Oh, Nilly, hello. And Stubber, how are you, my friends?
Doing well.
May we approach, or are we going to be attacked if we do?
Oh no, it's fine. They were merely helping me get used to it. It's been a very long trip, and I haven't been in actual gravity in quite some time.
Oh, what have you been off doing?
I was taken to Holy Terra after our journey and sanctioned by the Imperium of Man as a full-fledged psyker of the is it Scholastica? I think that's it.
That is excellent news, my friend. It will be nice for you not to hide in secrecy anymore.
Yes, that will be. It was very nice to be around those of my kind who respected my gifts. So, what have we all been called here for?
Do I know that?
No, you don't. You just know that
Okay.
you've been called.
By the Lord Inquisitor?
Yes. By the Cabal.
Cabal.
Not necessarily the Inquisitor.
I do not know, but we are to have a meeting with the Cabal.
Oh, very good. Is everyone showing up, or is it just us?
Yes, the rest of the team should be arriving shortly.
Oh, excellent. I very much so miss seeing Tibbleton and the rest.
Yes. Yes, we all do.
He waves off the guardsmen standing around him, and they reboard the ship, and the shuttle departs.
Can't wait for Garble to show up. I want him to stumble off his shuttle.
What the fuck, man? Yes, you all continue to chit-chat. Frawl talking very briefly about the sanctioning process that he underwent and the trials and tribulations on Holy Terra, and how very rewarding it was to actually be on Terra, so close to the God Emperor of mankind. You note that he seems quite a bit more zealous and pious than he once was, a bit less naive as well. Yes, as you continue to discuss things for a while, another shuttle lands at one of the slips of the dock. Jesus, I have like the worst throat thing now. Good. One of the other slips on the docks, and departing from it, a very dark, shadowed figure in a black body glove. He saunters out with very graceful, fluid movements, almost uncannily adroit, until he reaches the bottom of the ramp, lifts his bottle, and collapses onto the ground.
Okay, I'll approach and help this stranger up.
As Stubber approaches, one of your old companions, Leith, departs from the shuttle as well, quickly following the stumbling fool, and takes one shoulder as Stubber takes the other. And as you lift the darkened figure, you realize that it is none other than your very bestest friend, Garvelzane.
Well, I can see that old habits die hard.
He looks at you and takes another swig of rotgut. Nilly?
Garvey!
Nilly! And he opens his arms and embraces you. Obviously, reeking of rotgut and amasec.
Yes.
Nilly, it's been so long. How are you?
I am good, and how are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well. I was hanging out with this psyker chick that we picked up on Wrath. It was fun.
Yeah?
Yes, we've been trying to find my family, or the assassins who killed my family.
Oh, and how was that?
We found a few leads, but well, I assume that you were called here as well, seeing as everyone else has shown up.
Yep, the gang's all back together.
Leith is kind of just sitting back a little ways, not really saying much, but she looks happy to be there with old friends. So, when's this shindig getting started?
We will be heading over there as soon as everyone is here. We are just missing Tybalt now.
Ah, that little bastard. Hope he shows up soon. Is there anywhere to get a good drink in this place?
Maybe we can go out for some drinks after our meeting.
Awesome. And he and Frawl begin talking to each other in a private kind of conversation as he begins to move away from the group at large. So yes, now that most of you are all hanging out and you have really no idea when Tibbsy is going to be there, what do you guys choose to do?
Are we just gonna linger till Zach actually gets here?
That's up to you. You don't have
That's
to.
when Tybalt shows up, or
You can either just go now and then when Zach shows up, or you can wait for, or we can wait for him. But I have no idea when he's gonna show up. So.
okay. I just don't, want to exclude him from the story or
Yeah.
anything.
Well, we can always catch him up a bit. Like, yeah. Anyways.
Danny, did your webcam stop moving?
Oh yeah, it looks like your webcam froze. Danny,
Very
turn it off and on again.
Very, very intently staring.
Yeah, it's like freaking out for some reason. It like keeps turning off and back on again.
Good.
I don't know what the deal with it is.
Well, I guess while
There
we're
we go.
waiting, aside from the monolithic building that we're next to,
And you're within the
we're inside of it
conclave,
already?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You docked in it.
Is there anything else with an eyesight that we can see that is of noteworthy? That is noteworthy, rather.
Well, as you are in the docking areas, you can look out onto the moon itself and see a very, the small city surrounding the fortress, where all the commoners live and work. It doesn't seem very worthy. It's just simply a small town with a few shops, a fairly vast homestead. It appears to be a more factory-oriented kind of town, probably
Okay.
to supply the fortress for the most part.
Okay. Can we make any observations of any of the local populace, like PDF or any of the local guard or anything?
There appears to be no PDF at all within eyesight. You see a very large number of very tough-looking people that Neelis assumes are fellow arbitrators. There are also
Homies.
a lot of very stern-looking people that are the defense force for the Cabal and the fortress. Of these, there are many combat servitors, gun servitors, and servo skulls that just kind of drone around, making sure everything is adequately protected.
Oh, okay. So there's quite a bit of movement in the area that we're in.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Busy.
Yes, as you are on the docks, many ships are coming in and out, dropping off supplies and people and taking other stuff away, and people are departing and coming in quite frequently, well more frequently than they did on the distant pleasure world of Wrath.
Roger, are you gonna do anything else?
I'm just trying to get an idea of the area.
Right, the
being
name
that-
of the fortress, since I forgot it until now, is the Bastion Serpentis.
Yeah.
Serpentis.
Are there any cruisers that we can see that are ornate in any way? Or are these
you mean
mostly just small
most
vessels?
of
They're just going in
the
and out.
shuttles that are docking there are fairly small. I mean, they could probably hold, 1,000-man crew at best.
Hmm.
Some of them much smaller, some of them slightly larger, but that's about the average size of the skiffs that are coming in.
Mhm.
Looking up into the night, you can see the lights off of some of the great cruisers of the Imperial Navy, protecting both Scintilla and the Chess.
Wow, okay. So there's a lot of armed forces here.
Yes.
That's kind of cool. But it kind of means no riots.
Right.
Well, not necessarily, but
Yeah.
It'd be harder to get away with a riot.
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna say after waiting for a half an hour, just being like, well, maybe Tybalt wasn't hailed to show for the meeting, so let's go ahead and head over there.
Well, keep in mind, you guys were staying in this section. Like, you've been here for 4 to 5 hours now.
Okay.
Because travel through the warp is unpredictable, so Tybalt may not even show up until tomorrow or a week or years even, possibly.
Right.
So it's not like you can be like, no, he was expected to show up at like 5 p.m. He's gonna do that. Because you guys don't even know where he's been at all.
Right.
Everyone else has told you that they basically, outside of Thrall, stayed within the Calixis sector. So they were able to be here on time, and Thrall was escorted from Holy Terra by one of the Emperor's ships, so he's going to be here on time. His ass was good to go.
Alright, so yeah, I guess we just head over to the meeting room then.
Alright, you make your way out of the dock, and or the spaceport rather, and head over to through the barracks of the Bastion to one of the grand meeting halls, the grandest of them, where Anton Zerbay often sits over council of the Tyrantine Cabal.
With his golden mask.
Yes. As you open, his great throne that he sits upon shimmers with many glowlums and other very ornate kind of, almost gaudy, actually, lighting and wow, I can't think of words right now. I should have written all this down. Accoutrements, I guess. Around, or coming from Zerbay, who is in the back of the room on his throne, there is a very wide and long table. Sitting across from each other are many Inquisitors that Nihilus has seen and heard tale of, but none of you know personally. Very rough and tumble, although a couple of them look a bit more refined than the others. As you make a head count, it appears that there are only about 6 or so people sitting at the table of any importance. Everyone else is wait staff and servitors bringing back drinks and ensuring safety and passing documents between all of the speaking people in the room. As you enter, you are quickly rushed aside by one of the clerics working, not a cleric, administratum, kind of clerical person, rushes you to the side and asks what your business is in the Great Hall.
We were summoned here by the... You're gonna have to tell me.
Lord Inquisitor Anton Zerbay?
No, the other thing.
Calixian Cabal?
Cabal, yeah.
Or Conclave, you can use either one. It's in the title.
Okay. Alright, I'll just use Lord Inquisitor. We were summoned here by the Lord Inquisitor.
Ah, are you Inquisitor Nihilus?
Yes.
Of Malice?
Yes.
Very good. The Inquisitor will be speaking with you very shortly. And she shows you to a seat for all of you. You all wait around as the Inquisitors around the table kind of quiet down, coming to a more of a dull roar as Zerbay looks over the room menacingly. He is a man of quite intimidating stature in his power armor on the throne. So, you guys just want to wait around and watch?
Yeah, see what happens.
You want to... Okay. Very good.
What?
Very
What?
good. Fine.
No, you don't... I don't want to what?
It's fine. You don't want to... It's fine.
Okay. You just don't want to.
You just don't want to, I guess. So yes, eventually... my headset gets stuck. Eventually a hush quiets around the room as the Lord Inquisitor stands from his throne, and with a thunderous voice, he addresses everyone there. Will everyone not within the Ordo Hereticus, Ordo Malus, and Ordo Xenos, please exit the room. And almost all of the servantry leave. And, in fact, Frawl and Stubber, Leaf, and Garvel all get up as to leave before he moves a hand to stop you from leaving. You all have my blessing to stay. I'm sure all of you know what happened on the planet Reef, that one of our own betrayed us and the God Emperor, leading and plunging the world into the darkness of the warp. We have brought back those that were there that day, those that served unwittingly into Antonius's plans. They will recount their story here for all of you, and I would request that you all help them in any way that you can get to the bottom of why we were betrayed. And he motions over to the party, your party.
Mm-hmm.
Will Nihilus and Frawl please come forward? And he points down to where his feet are.
Okay.
Shine my shoes, bitch.
Frawl immediately stands up and, as eloquently as adroitly as he can, makes his way to the side of the Lord Inquisitor, and you get up a bit more saunteringly, I guess, and just kind of mosey on over.
Yep. That's what Nihilus does. He's a mosier.
He's a mosier. We're glad we're good with that.
Yep.
Right. You mosey on over to the Lord Inquisitor's side. Nihilus, I believe from the reports you were the team leader of the Acolyte group on Ref.
That is correct.
Would you please tell us what your mission was initially on Ref, and what came about, as generally as you can, and as quickly as possible?
My mission was to track down missing supplies of Tyranid corpses that were being sent for autopsy, which I found on a space.
That was not Ref.
What?
That was your initial one.
Oh.
We're talking about just Ref when you guys.
Oh. Okay. We were to track down reports of a spike in psyker activity around St. Vero Asylum, causing tears in the fabric of reality and any association it has with the rise of the Tyran star cults on neighboring planets.
And were you able to complete that mission?
Yes.
And what did you find out?
I found out that the Inquisitor who tasked me to do this was actually behind the reason of why this was happening.
Would you mind being a little more specific?
I was tasked by Inquisitor Antonius Carrizo to track down psyker activity in Vero. When we got there, we found a lot of interesting activity surrounding the St. Vero Asylum. And originally we thought it was the ecclesiarchy, and that had a big hand in the psyker happenings. What we would later find out after much trial and error to get into the Chapel of Blessed Peace, we discovered that Antonius Carrizo was actually the head of this operation.
And what became of Antonius Carrizo?
He was killed, labeled as a heretic.
You and of the psychers, what happened to them?
Reth was to be exterminated under the Exterminatus order.
No, I mean before that.
Before that, I don't know what happened to the psychers.
They went into Mercutio's body and previously into Fral's body.
Energy was drained.
Yeah. They were all dead well before the Exterminatus.
Oh, that's what that was for.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the tube stuff.
Shit. Okay. But do I really want to drop Mercutio's name?
It's up to you. You don't have to say Mercutio or anything. He just wants to know what happened to the Psychers.
Yeah, okay. So the Psychers on Reth were all eliminated.
And you verified this? You are sure that they were extinguished?
I am 100% sure that they were destroyed.
One of the men sitting around the grand table stands up so fast that he actually knocks his seat back. This lumbering man with many symbols and motifs of skulls and the Inquisition. In fact, sitting closest to the Lord Inquisitor himself, realizes his mistake in getting up so quickly and looks to the Lord Inquisitor, and the Lord Inquisitor nods to him, allowing him speak. Yes, Ricus. The man at the table addresses you. Are you absolutely sure you've purged all of the witches?
Yes, I am 100% sure that they have all been destroyed.
Do you know why he was using them?
He was using them to summon the Tyrant Star.
Tyrant.
Sorry.
Yes. Inquisitor Anton Zerbay says. You were on Reth itself when the Star Komos manifested, were you not?
I was.
Can you give us any description of what happened to the planet when the Tyrant Star appeared, as no one of the Inquisition was ever on one, besides Antonius, as far as we know.
When it appeared, the planet was covered in thick black clouds. And what was the rest of the shit that happened? Because I know the clouds happened, and then there was
There was a massive demonic incursion. Horrors and other demons came from the seas.
Okay.
That stuff.
Radios
were jammed.
Right. The planet was completely encased in thick black clouds, and horrors and demons were coming out of the sea and from the ground, and our radios were also knocked out unless we had a line of sight or were extremely close to each other.
Interesting. Van Voigen, what do you make of this? It appears that your theory was incorrect, and a very older-looking gentleman gets up from near the back of the table and looks around at all of you. Yes, that was definitely not what I expected to happen, Lord Inquisitor. Tell me, did any of you take any measurements or any samples? Did anything else happen? He looks around to the entirety of the group.
Would a valid sample be any of the equipment we had at that time that they could use for testing? Okay. My lord, as I stand up, I do have a crossbow that I could submit for testing that I would be willing to part with.
Ah, excellent. And it was on the planet during the apparition?
Yes, Lord. It was on my person while the Tyrant Star was active.
Very good. Please meet me at my quarters after, and I will run a full diagnostic and have it back to you, providing there is no taint, as soon as possible.
My pleasure, my lord. I sit back down.
I also have something that you could use. I have a chrono that you can keep if you want to.
Getting rid of your watch.
I have 2 of them. I don't need 2.
Yes, you do.
Not like the first one helped.
Excellent.
This
Thank
chrono
you.
was also given to me by Inquisitor Antonius Carrizo.
Oh, it was. And
Yes.
the Lord and Inquisitor stands up again and towers over you. Do you have it on you?
Yes, I have it right here.
He reaches out and takes it from you. Voigan, please run a full diagnostic of this immediately. And he hands it off to a servitor in the room who rushes it over to Voigan. And he gets up and immediately leaves the room, looking and poking at the watch as he leaves. So, did anything else happen on Reth that we should know about?
I'm trying to think. Frawl might be able to give you a better idea of how many psychers there were.
He turns to Frawl. Sanctionite. What was your account of the horrors upon Reth? And Frawl recounts that he looked into the warp within the confines of Vero, the asylum of Saint Vero, and recounts seeing thousands upon thousands of psychers trapped, some willing, some unwilling, and their essences, the very core of their beings, being stripped from them, and later pushed into his own body. He recounts the machine that he was tied to, and his massive confusion that afterward, when he finally came to on the flagship of the Mechanicus, how he had no taint of the warp, nor any of the psychic life force that was pushed into him still within his body. And the Inquisitor, the Lord Inquisitor, nods at him and sits back down.
Also, you would like to know that the ecclesiarchy on the planet not only had dealings with these psychers, but they were also having dealings in mutants.
Oh, and one of the older, more regal-looking women stand up and question you. What do you mean with the mutants?
The Sororitas on Reth and the Saint Vero... Fuck, what was it? It was the Temple of Saint Vero?
Holy Temple?
The Holy... Yes. The Sororitas and the clerics at the Holy Temple of Saint Vero had a standoff, and me and my team infiltrated from a back door, and we found the clerics in close proximity and allied with these mutants.
And you're sure of this?
Yes, I am positive.
Do you believe that the mutants were under any psychic control, or were they acting on their own?
It appeared that they were acting on their own, but as I am not a psyker, I could not tell you for sure.
And as you say this, the Lord Inquisitor looks over to the woman and says, Lady Rathbone, I'm afraid your questioning will have to wait for just a moment. I hear that we will soon be having another visitor. Will all of you please meet me in my chambers for a moment before we continue?
Of course, my lord.
And everyone kind of goes back about their business, and the rest of your party get up and follow the Lord Inquisitor to a door behind his throne, and you enter a very lavish office furnished with the finest dark woods, mini servo skulls going across the room, data pads filled with volumes of information and old arcane books bound in what look like flesh on his shelves. He sits behind a small chair not a small chair. He sits in a chair that he dwarfs significantly and turns to Neelis. Inquisitor, I'm afraid I've brought you here under a bit of a ruse.
Oh?
Yes, I believe that your previous Inquisitor was colluding with one of those in the Tyrantine Cabal, and I request the help of you and this team, having been the closest we can find of the Inquisitors and those who were there at his death, to help track down the potential heretics within our midst.
It would be my pleasure to serve you, my lord.
Now, I know that you've had dealings with both Magos Errant, Coretta Sigma, and the Reaper of the Moritat, Mercutio Barbosa. Do you happen to know their whereabouts?
I do not know their whereabouts at this current moment.
Do you have any helpful information of what happened on the final days on Reth that might help me to find them?
If you don't mind, my lord, but what exactly do you want with them?
It just seems quite peculiar to me that two people of such importance would forego coming here and assisting the Inquisition. For Lady Sigma has not returned to her post on the Lathes, and has in fact left one of her underlings in charge of the entirety of the sector, and I have no idea as to where she nor the Reaper have gone.
The last I know, or the last I've seen, they were on a Mechanicus fleet, and they dumped me here.
Very well. I suppose, if you hear anything, please tell me immediately.
Of course, my lord.
If they were in any way involved underhandedly, we need to bring them to the righteousness of his emperor. Otherwise, I believe they would be very powerful allies in this dark and troubled time.
As do I.
Out of character, should probably let him know what Mercutio ended up doing at the end there.
Anyways, we're going to go on a short break. We'll do a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back and keep going from there.